Card. Wait, was that you?
Yeah.
All right, I thought there was like a clip in the mic. Okay, recording. Una, dos, tres. Welcome back to the Friday feed. We never actually ever do that, do we?
No, you never say welcome back to the Friday feed.
That's fucking weird. Wait, what's going on? I fucking forgot everything. Like, how does this whole thing work? Wait, how does this whole thing work? Oh yeah. No, I have to. I have to say something. What do I say? Do you know what I was thinking about the other day? Do you ever, when I was younger, I used to get jealous. Do you know those kids that used to get anything they wanted? Like, lucky, anything they wanted, like, you know, they could have even had a hard time at home, but they were just lucky. Like, basically what I'm saying is I got jealous. Do you ever get jealous by the kids? Were you ever invited into the back of a man's van?
No.
Did you not? Me neither. That's my problem. Were you ever jealous? Like, that you didn't get an invite from the...
No. I was never jealous that I wasn't, like, potentially kidnapped, no.
Really?
No, I think
that's a me thing.
I think, yeah, it's definitely a you thing, but you should definitely make it a therapy thing.
A therapy thing?
Yeah.
Is that not like, is there something, it's like, that's a problem, like.
That's definitely a problem if you're like, damn it, I wish I was kidnapped.
I guess, like, it's weird when you grow up and you kind of know where they were probably going, but, like, when I was younger, there was a sense of mystery and wonder and adventure around it, like, and I kind of thought they could be going to Disneyland. I didn't, like, you know, you don't think, they could be going to Brazil, like, you think they're going to Disneyland or something, like.
I don't know, I think the whole stranger danger thing was definitely not explained to you properly, so
probably not. Will we go over? Oh yeah, we go over to Stevie's intro music. God, it's been a while since I heard that. Over to that thing. Everybody wants their Friday unmuted. You muted it again. Welcome back to Everything from Nothing. We haven't been here in a few weeks.
It's not everything from nothing, it's the Friday feed.
Our guest this week is
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, yeah. Who was not invited, who rudely entered our crevice. Is a crevice? What's a crevice? Is a crevice like? I know people have crevices, but like, is it? Does it make sense to use the contents of crevice in terms of like outdoor space, like space?
I think it can be like, I think a crevice could be like, you know, like a hole or gap in a cliffside or something like as well.
Oh, you're right actually. Oh man, I literally did a whole fucking rock climbing course about crevices. Yeah.
And nooks and crannies.
Yeah, nooks and crannies. We weren't allowed to climb nooks and crannies.
Why?
I don't know. Does nooks and crannies, like, does that make you uncomfortable when you hear that word? Like,
it's 3 words.
It's
not one word. That's just nooks and crannies.
Oh shit! I genuinely thought it was one word, and I was like, "Why do like?" I feel like there's a better way to call that. I thought it was one word.
No, like a nook and a cranny.
Can you break down what is a nook and what is a cranny?
I have no idea what a cranny is, but I think isn't a nook just like a small like kind of enclave or hole? Like, cause some people would use like the word nook for like. I don't know, like a man cave type thing as well. Like, you know, I think a nook is just like a small opening area.
Okay.
Like
And
small
so
cave.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've heard. Okay, now that makes sense. So it's not one word. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I wonder. I reckon there's why age am I not? Like, old enough anyway to probably have known that. Like, and old enough to probably know that there's many words in my head that I probably think are just one word. Like, I have no idea. That's weird.
I think the only reason I know the term nooks and crannies is from, do you remember that show Art Attack on telly?
Art Attack, yeah.
Yeah, he used to say that like when he was putting, I think he used to say that when he was putting on like the PVA glue or something.
The lad that would always have one made from earlier.
Yeah,
Here's one I made from earlier.
Neil Buchanan or something.
Oh, yeah. Did he die?
No, I think he left the show and he plays guitar in a metal band now. As far as I know.
That's more, that's mad. That's mad.
I think it's guitar now. He's definitely in a metal band, or was.
Do you think he's enjoying himself? Like that's mad to me. If he went from making like weird little Play-Doh creatures for fucking kids to a metal band. I feel like he never won. Like, do you think? Like, that's a stark contrast. Like, that's like, you know, Breaking Bad. Like, he was a teacher, and it's like, I'm gonna break bad and tell him met. Like, that's what that feels like to me. Do you think he like had a midlife crisis and was just like, I'm gonna play metal music now? Can you please assess this stranger, Stevie, with your professional opinion?
You could like artistic creativity, but still be a metalhead. Like, it's like,
oh yeah, actually, that's what Croig's all about.
yeah, like the idea, like he's in a metal band, not like a methyl band. Like.
Okay. Well, they're not the same thing. Exactly. Well, I'm learning these new words. Yeah, no, a metal band would be like illegal.
Frowned upon, at least.
Yeah, at the bare minimum. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think, like, you know, the way like societies become more acceptable? Is that true?
Accepting, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Accepting to smoking cannabis. Per se, obviously not all of society, but most have, and it's even not as, you know, you're not as quick to go to jail for smoking cannabis in today's day and age. Do you think they'll ever get to the stage where people go, you know what, crystal meth is not that bad for society? Like, because there was a time when people legit said they treated weed like we see meth now, and it was hard for them to fucking comprehend a future where weed would be okay and everyone would be smoking it, going uptown and stuff. But like, you know, like, is there ever going to be a day where we're going to be okay with people smoking meth and going getting the groceries? Like,
I don't think so, because like it's just like it's like meth is a lot more harmful, and I'm kind of just basing that on like when you look at countries that have gone,
yeah, I suppose.
like you look at like Portugal, countries that have done like the criminalization route, like it's like. I could be wrong, but I think I remember reading in Portugal, like after like the decriminalization of like all drugs, drug use of every drug went down apart from weed.
Drug use apart from weed. Oh wow.
So I think, or something.
That's
like,
interesting.
Something like that, like anyway.
Yeah, weed probably goes up.
Yeah, and then people just kind of don't really bother with other stuff.
Yeah, that's mad. I could definitely see why. As someone who's never partaked in anything ever, but like, yeah, like I feel like weed would go up if it got made legal and the other stuff would go down. Why do I think that is? Because I think it's less of people, I don't know, I feel like it's nearly the opposite. People say weed is a gateway drug. I feel like it has been for people, but I actually think if it's illegal, it would do the opposite, where it goes, people are happy with that. It's like we can drink alcohol and smoke weed. That's enough.
I think alcohol is the real gateway drug, because like there's definitely more cases of like, right, if you picture the scenario of like there's someone who would never take like a hard drug.
Definitely.
And like if they get stoned, they're not going to randomly go, yeah, I'm going to try meth. But if someone gets drunk enough, someone would convince them to take meth.
Okay.
So like I do think alcohol is a real gateway drug, because that just gets rid of people's like inhibitions and gets rid of like people's like fucking logic, and people just go, yeah, fuck it, I'll try this, and then they wake up the next morning and it's like, oh, you smoked crack, and it's like, what?
But do you think I do think I'm all for like cannabis and legalizing. Okay, I'm all for whatever I said there, legalizing cannabis, and but I do think that there is a delusion on one side where it's like completely fine, like I think alcohol is 100 times worse, 100 times worse. And if alcohol is accepted in society, then we are mental as a society to not accept cannabis. But like to say, I think there are times where weed has been a gateway drug.
Oh yeah.
Very small examples where people who are very like depressed and sad, and they find this way to escape their head for the first time, and they smoke weed and they keep doing it, and they're not getting the same thing. But their thing, it's not that weed itself is a gateway drug, but they need to get out of their head because they're sad, and they need to get the next thing. And weed only does so much, so it does happen where like people go on to the next thing. I've seen it with friends, like but yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like just because you were saying about like the whole thing of like I don't know why you just talking about that just reminded me of, I saw a guy talking before about one of the problems with like legalization in America. Is the fact that it's like they're not legalizing cannabis, they're commercializing THC, which is like is like as in like, because if like naturally like you're not meant to ingest THC. It's like even if you're like a stoner, you're not meant to ingest like something that's like fucking 90% THC. That's not good for anyone. Like that is gonna like you're going to be paranoid. You're going to have psychosis. Like all of the side effects.
You'll be texting weird messages to your grandmother.
Yeah, you're just going to have your reality checking the whole time, and like, you're just going to end up in a psychotic episode. But like when you look at like a lot of places that have decriminalized, it's all look how much THC is in this, and they're not actually.
Yeah,
so,
that's
so it's not that
true.
weed is legal. It's just that they've turned like THC into like this.
Wow.
It's like
So that's true, because all those places, that's like Amsterdam or California, like the white weed is really strong, isn't it?
yeah. But I think in Amsterdam, I think they have a limit of how strong
right.
it can be. I think it's like 20-something% or something is usually what the shops. I don't know. I've never been to Amsterdam.
Them Amsterdolians, what that like the word? How would you say it? Like we say Irish
Dutch people.
Dutch people. They have like a real. They've got their shit together. They've really got their shit together. Yeah. Speaking of having your shit together, did you were you an angsty teenager? Did you ever would you be like listening furiously, masturbating, listening to Nirvana or anything like that, like, or just either or
But like as
or gently masturbating?
like definitely one of the things that made me angsty, or like would have been like one of the stereotypical angsty things. Like I was definitely a lot more of a music elitist as a teenager.
Like? Oh, like that.
As in, you don't like my music, your music is shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of like I wasn't as bad as some people I know, but there was definitely a streak of that there. That it's like, oh, if the music isn't on Kerrang or Scuds, it's terrible. Like, and
Yeah.
I definitely had a lot of that. Like,
Yeah, but it's weird. In my head, yeah, I was like that as well. Like, and I'm totally the opposite now. Like, I was having a shower earlier. It went from Kanye West to like Damien Rice to like ASAP Rocky to fucking Sigur Rós. Like, oh yeah, they were the 4 songs, and it's like I didn't know there's no correlation between any of them really.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like when I was younger, so like as in that's how open I am to listening to new music, old music now. But when I was younger though, I was the same. But I don't think I was wrong either. There's something in my head that goes, you know, I just still feel like I like at that time I was right, because you know that song, Shawty's like a melody in my head.
replay, yeah.
I'm not wrong to dislike that song. It was stuck in my head and everyone was singing it all the time, or like Tiny Tempa. Oh, and I used to, I actually kind of like the song now, but at the time I hate, you know, like all those, I don't know, all those now 60 CD. I don't think you're a bad kid if you didn't like those songs. I think you were dead right.
But I think it's just a normal thing for teenagers.
Yeah,
It's like once you, because like I'd say for a lot of people before the age of like 10 or 12, like the music you listen to is pretty much the music everyone around you listen to. And then when you kind of hit like around puberty or just before, that's when you start to go, oh, my music, like, and the music you discover, the stuff that means things to you or like helps you find who you are. So then because of like what that music has done for you, you get very like gatekeepy about it.
Yeah.
It just kind of becomes that toxic thing of like, no, like you, like your music is shit, like, because like obviously in your head, your like the music you listen to will feel a lot more personal and more important because it's done loads of stuff for you, whereas the stuff on the radio didn't do anything for you. But then you get older and realize, like, you know, it's like
yeah, that's mad.
the difference between like pop and rock is actually nowhere near as big as people think. Like, it's just like you add distortion, like weirder chords, raspier voices, but you still have verse chorus, bridge, final chorus.
Yeah, it is. And you know what bridged the gap for me as well is like, because I'd be like listening to Nirvana, and I knew that was cool. I seen the people who like Nirvana, so I knew that was acceptable and stuff. But then, like, you know, older Linkin Park, that was acceptable. But then, like, Linkin Park would bring out like a song like, you know, like Castle of Glass, one of my favorite Linkin Park songs, and it's very poppy, and I go, oh, like, I know my friends have all these like Linkin Park t-shirts, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be listening to this or not. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it was like a very pop song, but I was like, and then you do show them, you go, I like Linkin Park too, and they go, that's not Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Those are sellouts. And you know, like, yeah, I don't know. It was very, times were complex.
Yeah, like I was very like that as well, where it's like I'm kind of a little bit more open to it now. It's like, as in like Fall Out Boy, I absolutely love Fall Out Boy, but like their newer albums I'm not too gone on because they did go very kind of poppy. But like I still went to see them live during the summer because I wasn't going to like just not see them because it's like I didn't like a few of their new albums. But like someone likes their new albums, you know. Everyone has to evolve and change. Like if they just kept releasing the same album every year, I'd be giving out too. Like you know, you can't really win. You as a musician, you just have to just release what you like, and if people like it, good. If they don't, fair enough.
Yeah, it's mad. I was definitely that kid who, when everyone was listening to like Eminem, Purple Pills or something like that, and then it's my turn to pick an Eminem song, and it would be Not Afraid would come on. You know, Rihanna. Love the way you like. I liked all. I don't know. It's weird. Like as I'm older, I definitely am more. All the songs I neglected, like those songs that were on the radio at the time, I'm starting to like them now. Because I wanted to like them the whole time, but I just like, it's weird. Like,
it's like one of the funny ones for me is like, Do you know the 1975?
Yes.
Like first
I
time I
don't know
heard,
them religiously, but
like first time, I think it might have been their first single, or it was their first like really big single that made me aware of them was Chocolate, and I hated that song. Like I used to take the piss out of like the acting because like there was this weird thing around the time when that song came on. There was a few different singers doing that like weird because like I love pop punk, but I don't like when it's really really whiny.
Yeah.
And it just so like it just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, another fucking Egypt doing this. And then like as I listened to like 1975 more, I was like, oh no, this is his accent, this is his voice, like this is what he sounds like.
Yeah.
And now I actually like Chocolate still wouldn't be my favorite song, but I love the 1975 now. And if someone threw on Chocolate, I'd be bopping away to it. But like when it first came out, because of whatever biases I had of whatever music happened to surround it at the time, I put it in a box and thought it was terrible. And like then when it was out of the box again, it was actually great. Like
that's mad. Like I'm curious to get your opinion, right? I got to the stage now where I'll never say a song is shit. And then when there's songs though, like, and I just won't, and I won't even think that in my head. And if I do, and that intrusive thought comes in, I'll go out my way to listen to it over and over again. Baby Shark. Okay. Right. Okay. There's one song.
It's a catchy melody. Like to be fair, if you can write a melody that can stick in someone's head.
Okay. Let's okay. Now that we're being judgmental here, let's 3 things we like about Baby Shark. Let's do this as a team building exercise. Okay. Let's figure out how to like Baby Shark. Okay, the catchy melody.
See, for me, one of the reasons is actually
shuts kids up.
One of the things for me, weirdly enough, is nostalgia.
Okay.
Because I was singing that song in like second and third year of school.
Before it was cool.
No, like genuinely, like, and I thought I was just like imagining that. I was just like,
that's mad.
When the song blew up there, like last year or a few years ago, I was like, I definitely like the lyrics were slightly different, but it was the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And like I learned it from those like 2 girls in school who like I think they learned it in the Gaeltacht and they used to sing it. And I just thought it was like such a stupid and fun song. And I used to sing it the whole time. And like I thought I was going mad when the song came out. I was like, did I imagine this? Like what happened? Until someone in my family just turned and was like, do you remember Stevie used to sing that the whole time? I was like, okay, it did happen.
That's
like,
mad. That's mad. I didn't know that. So it was a song before, like what the hell?
Yeah, no, it's been around. It's been a children's song for a good while. Like it kind of blew up and became like one of the big ones there in the last 2 years or so.
Man, it's so weird though. Like what? This to me, there's like somewhere in that. I don't know. I feel like the answer to like there has to be some sort of proof in collective consciousness, or like whether it's collective consciousness or whether there is some programming in DNA on a less spiritual thing. There has to be something that where all the fucking kids were just hypnotized by this song. Like, what about that melody just shut the why had every kid going Baby Shark? That's why it's like one of the most viewed songs, is because every kid wanted again, and they still do years later. And it's like, why though?
Repetition is probably one of the main reasons. Like,
because it's so that song is more repetitive than others, is it?
Yeah, it's like I think it gets the balance right. That it's like because like adults I think are more irritated by something being too repetitive. Like if something goes on and on, they're like, oh, okay, it's dragging on. Whereas kids are like, they'll pick up on the pattern and they'll kind of dance to it, like, and stuff. So I think Baby Shark is like kind of in that sweet spot of being like repetitive, but like still catchy. Like, you know, it's like repetitive, because like you can have bad repetitive too. Like if I went to the piano there and just played the same key, over and over and over, like that's not good repetitive. That's not catchy. But if you have like catchy repetitive, you'll never forget what it sounds like.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, like it is a shame because I spent years up until that time telling people, oh, I think kids are smart, I think kids they have intelligence. And then the Baby Shark comes out and then everyone's like, you said, like they're listening to this over and over. They want to listen. I was just vouching for them for years, saying kids were intelligent and we need to give them more credit. And then they come along and they listen to Baby Shark over and over, making me look like an idiot. Like, oh man,
there was definitely no silly child song you loved when you were a kid.
No, I was listening to Linkin Park.
It's like, actually that just reminds me of that thing. Like, you know, loads of people will have the opinion of like, oh, like cartoons were like so much better when I was a kid, and it's like people like, it's like they're so close to getting the fact it's like they were better because you were a kid. It's like you can't you can't fully look at cartoons today and with like an unbiased mind because you're not a kid. They're not designed for you.
Okay, I definitely agree. You can't look at an unbiased point. So what I'm about to say, I can never prove because there's always going to be the bias of the fact that I was a kid. But Courage the Cowardly Dog, for example, that was a program I watched. But there was I can remember if I put bring my awareness back to when I was a kid, I can remember there were other cartoons I watched that were stupid. But when Courage the Cowardly Dog, had dialogue in it that seemed to have a lot more time and talk on into. Do you not think the dialogue was more creative, or like as in adults were able to watch it, like, and adults still watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
I think it depends then as well, because I loved Courage the Cowardly Dog growing up as well. But like the example I used to use was like Adventure Time. Adventure Time came much later. Yeah, but Adventure Time is like would be like the Courage Cowardly Dog, or the like of its time, like, and not like not in the sense of like obviously they're completely different types of shows, but I mean like that was the thing where like adults and kids watch, or even SpongeBob.
And there's the World of Bubblegum. What's that? World of Gumball.
World of Gumball.
That's good.
Or a regular show.
Yeah. Although there's actually loads. You're right.
Yeah.
You're dead right. You're dead right.
So it is actually like.
Shut up, everyone! Giving out like what the hell?
But like it is that whole thing of like it's much easier to appreciate when you are a kid, and then you have the nostalgia factor for the rest of your life. So you're always going to appreciate it. But like you know like. Kids nowadays love the cartoons that are on telly, so
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're actually dead right. Because when I was younger, there was the stupid cartoons I watched when I was a stupid age, and then I grew up to 5, and I started watching like Courage Cowardly Dog or something. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is really interesting.
There's nothing worse though when there is something like a cartoon or a show or a movie or something you loved as a kid, and then you like you just keep thinking about it, and you're basically like riding the nostalgia high for like your whole life, and then you're like, I'm going to rewatch it, and then you rewatch it, and it just does not like work, and it just you don't really
chasing the dragon, man. Chasing the everyone trying.
That's the real gateway drug.
Yeah.
Cartoons.
Well, I think so, because weed is the gateway into heroin. What? Into Ed, Ed, yeah, but Ed, Ed and Eddie was the gateway to weed. Name one person that watched Ed, Ed and Eddie that doesn't smoke weed. Name one. doesn't exist. Yeah. Me, actually, I actually don't even smoke, but I do my. Yeah.
But to be fair, like I get the logic. Like I get what you mean. That it's like, like even though obviously there's loads of people who watched it who wouldn't have ever smoked. Like, but like I can definitely see how stoners would be Ed and Eddie people. Like.
Yeah, more that Courage the Cowardly Dog were people that we're all the ones that are going to end up on mesh. Like, be honest.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was people who had anxiety but didn't know how to talk about it yet. Like, and it's just like, okay, watching a show about someone who's as anxious as I feel inside. Like,
yeah, I had lots of anxiety then, because you were saying something earlier there. This is weird. I had like in the space I have a memory of 3 thoughts happening one after another when I was like 8 or 9. So young enough age to have a recollection of about 60 seconds of a continuous memory, each split into thirds.
Yeah.
So I went from, and I told people this before, I had this fear when I was younger. Like, so I remember, why was I thinking about this? Something you were talking about, something that made me think of a while ago, like trying to be cool, or like thinking about thoughts or something like that when you're younger. I don't know what it was, but it just flashed into my head whatever you were saying about, like, I had this time. I went from listening to the Rubber Bandits, Horse Outside. Oh no, sorry. It started. The first one was I was listening. I had this fear of dying, not because I believed in like heaven and hell, and now I only believe in heaven, whatever. I don't. When I was younger, I believed in what the fucking priest was saying at church and shit like that. And so I was like, man, I wasn't scared that I would go to hell. I was scared that I'd go to heaven, because I was like, oh man. I was 8 years old, and I could felt what eternity was, and I was like, this is boring. Heaven, I do not want to go to heaven. So I started freaking out. Anyway, I went from freaking out to whatever reason. Like, this just shows you when you're 8 or 9 how curious you are. We lose this curiosity to, I need to distract myself. I look around. I look down on I wasn't wearing clothes, and my penis was out, and my balls were out. And I was like, and then I was thinking, I heard someone say outside that day that your balls will drop someday. And I was like, wait, did my balls drop? They look different. And then Horse Outside started playing on the radio, and the thoughts went away. It's mad. Like, but I don't know why I remember all those, like a moment. I remember 60 seconds of a moment in my head when I was 9. It's weird.
My brain still bounces around to that level. Like,
really?
Like, the amount of times like I'll be having a conversation with Megan, and I'll have to be like, okay, look, and I'll have to explain first how I got to the thing I'm about to say.
I
okay, you said this, and that made me think of this TV show, and then this person was in this TV show, and they were also in this, and they like this song, and this song's in my head now.
Do you know what though? Where I fall down, I do the exact same thing. Like, I think we think the same, but you were better at explaining it. That's why if you watch every fucking podcast all the time where I'm like jumping from one word into the next, having thought I said the middle words out loud, but I never fucking do. But you are good at like going back and be explaining that and trying to get better at that. Like, because my brain is running around. Like even now, I'm thinking about. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and explain that. I don't know. Yeah, will we finish up? Should people? Should no?
Oh God.
Should
I don't know what you're gonna say about it.
should people be watching this show naked? Right, there has to be how many views? The podcast altogether is over 120,000 views, something like that. Do you think there's ever one time someone watched it? Over 120,000 that one of those people were naked.
Like apart from you.
Watching it.
Yeah.
I've been naked on the show. Apart from me, has there been one? And,
I'd say so.
okay, follow up question. Do you think they were touching themselves?
No. But like, I'd say someone has definitely watched it naked, yeah.
Right. We'll see you next week. Bye. Make sure you subscribe. Love you. Bye.